What's going on, Dolphins fans? It's Connor from the Dolphins Dive, and today we're going to be going over the Miami Dolphins' top needs that they need to bring into the building to help take this team to the next level. Obviously, the Dolphins are close, but there's still work to be done, and in today's video, we're going to be going over what they need to prioritize bringing in between free agency and the draft. Before I get into today's video, though, just a quick little plug to the merch shop, thedolphinsdive.com. You can get things like this, Mike McDaniel McLovin shirts, hoodies, mugs. We got some Tua Time, Javon Holland, Snowman, and other merch. Just check it out. The link will be in the description. But if you do, I appreciate it. But I'm going to hop right into today's video. So without further ado, I have a ranking of from bottom to top of what we should prioritize. So coming in, I didn't number this. That's kind of on me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So coming in at number 8 is going to be everybody's favorite position. You love when he's on the field, the punter. Thomas Morstead did a phenomenal job for the Dolphins last season, but he's a free agent, so technically the Dolphins don't have a punter on the roster. So I'd consider punter the 8th biggest need, but hopefully we just bring Morstead back to take care of that. You don't need to worry. Coming in at number 7, this might be a little low for some people, but for me, I think this is properly ranked, is left guard. Last season, the left guard play was honestly not horrible. We had Liam Eichenberg, who had ups and downs, and then the coaching staff seemed very high on, and then he proceeded to get injured. Robert Jones came in to fill in for him, and Robert Jones honestly did a solid job. So left guard, like I said, you have Eichenberg and Robert Jones. I honestly don't think it's necessarily a position the Dolphins should look to spend on. I think that's a position you maybe grab a cheap veteran free agent or just draft someone in like the 3rd, 4th, 5th round just to compete. But I think if you take the best player between Eichenberg, Robert Jones, and then also you might throw in Austin Jackson into that mix, I think you'd be serviceably well. I don't think it'd be a huge hole, especially with how much assets the Dolphins have, which isn't a lot. I think you can deal with left guard being kind of a question mark, but you have a big competition and take the best player there. Next is kind of a combo. I have cornerback / safety. So obviously a lot of people, including myself, are probably pro post June 1st cutting Byron Jones. And if you do that, cornerback / safety becomes a hole. And why I say that, I know a lot of Dolphins fans are clamoring from Jordan Poyer. I kind of disagree. Obviously, everyone wants to say he's a scheme fit, which he is to a degree, but when you consider our current personnel with Brandon Jones, Javon Holland, we basically need a nickel defender. So we have Xavier Howard, he's staying. We have Cater Co, who I'd consider a solid cornerback too, / slot corner. That's kind of where he played. But there's a question mark at that 3rd corner spot or 3rd safety spot because you can do either one. They're a nickel defender, so they're going to be in the box. So I think the Dolphins need to prioritize getting a 3rd corner or a 3rd safety, however you want to consider that, because a nickel defender is a nickel defender, however you want to use that, whether it be a corner or safety. I think the Dolphins just need to get that kind of position. And the reason why I made it a combo is because I think they should only use, once again, we don't have a lot of assets, but we should use our assets to prioritize just getting one rather than spreading ourselves too thin and getting like a mediocre version of both. Just get like a solid cornerback 3 or solid 3rd safety to play in that nickel role, and then have Cater Co, Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, and I think that's a pretty solid secondary if you ask me. Next position coming in at, I believe, number 5 is going to be tight end. Obviously, the Dolphins are losing Mike Gesicki. Durham Smythe did a good job overall, very solid blocker, as well as he did a decent job in the receiving game. I think there's just more meat left on the bone in terms of the receiving game, in terms of yards after catch, breaking tackles, being a little more athletic. So the Dolphins can look to upgrade there. Smythe's serviceable. He's gonna block well. He's gonna make the routine plays, but he's not gonna be a huge playmaker. So if you can maybe potentially get a guy that's more athletic but still has that blocking prowess, I think you look to make that upgrade. Coming in at number 3, so that was number 4. I think a lot of people are going to be thinking this is a little too low, but whatever. Linebacker. Obviously, with the scheme change, linebacker becomes more of a priority. Not to mention that we have a lot of free agent linebackers. Atlanta Roberts is a free agent. Duke Riley is a free agent. So the only main linebackers under contract are going to be Jerome Baker and Channing Tindall. So that's why I have it number 3. The reason I have a position that's next that I wouldn't necessarily consider the value of the position to be higher than linebacker, but due to the current status of the roster and what we have, I think linebacker, there's a chance that Tyndall fits what Fangio's looking for, and if he can get coached up right, Tyndall could be a good linebacker that we don't have to necessarily go out and spend top money for one, but that's yet to be seen. Number 2 is running back. The reason running back's number 2, I don't necessarily value running backs too highly. Obviously, they're valuable, but in terms of, I don't want to say they're a dime a dozen. There's different difference makers in running backs, but overall, you can find them from cheap in free agency to late in the draft. Especially this scheme has shown over the years that you can find running backs anywhere. And I know you want to say like, oh, well, the Dolphins didn't have a good run game last year. Yeah, but I'd make that more of a testament to the offensive line rather than the running backs. They both average pretty decent yards per carry. So I think the Dolphins should look. This is obviously a different video and free agents we should pursue, but I honestly think if we can try and retain Mostert and Jeff Wilson, get a guy late in the draft, keep Ahmed, I think that'd be a good nucleus of running backs that'd be able to get the job done at a pretty high level. Raheem Mostert played very well last year. Obviously, he wasn't the most available, but when he played, he was very good. So I think we can maybe get Mostert back for pretty cheap. So then obviously would make it less of a need. But due to the fact we literally have no running backs on the roster, that's why I have running back as the top need, or the second most need. And then our top need coming at number 1, I think most people would agree, is a right tackle. I think this is the biggest piece missing in the offensive line. It is Tua's blind side, and it was kind of a revolving door all year, especially due to the fact that Austin Jackson got hurt early, came back, got hurt again. Brandon Shell did a decent job to replace him, obviously, for what he was worth. I think he was like $1 million, just veteran minimum. I think he did a serviceable job, but in order for this, I think, offensive line to take that next step and for this team to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders, we need to get a very good right tackle. You look at the Chiefs, they lose the Super Bowl to the Bucs due to offensive line play. They do everything in their power to upgrade that offensive line, and now they have arguably the best offensive line in football, or top 3, because the Eagles also have a good one. But you can win games with a mediocre offensive line, but then when it comes to playoff time, when teams have those guys with their ears pulled back playing with leads, if you don't have a top tackle duo, you're probably going to end up losing just due to how good the pass rushers are in the league. And like I said, if the Dolphins were in the Super Bowl, I don't think they would have been able to hold up nearly as well as obviously the Chiefs did. So I think in order to win in January and February, you need premium tackles. So I think the Dolphins need to look to upgrade from Austin Jackson and go out and get a guy. There's some decent offensive tackle free agents. So I think that should be the top priority for the Dolphins. So that's how I perceive our top need. I don't know what you guys think. Comment down below your thoughts on what you think is our top premium need. But then the future videos coming out are going to be on the free agents that the Dolphins should pursue, which is honestly some of my favorite content to make, because you get to look at the landscape of who's available and you're like, oh damn, can the Dolphins get this guy or this guy? And it's exciting to see on the potential of what we can do. So that's going to be it for today's video. Like I said, check out the Dolphins dive. It would mean a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe to help the channel grow. And until next time, I'll catch y'all.